Electricity surrounds us every day, quietly flowing through walls, powering screens, and lighting entire cities. Yet the same force can suddenly tear through the sky with blinding light and deafening sound. One feels ordinary and controlled, the other feels overwhelming and dangerous, even though both are forms of electricity. This contrast raises an important question. How is lightning different from electricity and wires? To answer that, we need to look beyond the surface and understand how each one forms, moves, and behaves under very different conditions. Let's break it all down, right here, on History of Simple Things. Electricity in wires is what engineers call controlled electrical current. It's the deliberate flow of electrons through a conductor like copper or aluminum. In your home or office, this flow results from a generator or battery creating a voltage difference, essentially a push that moves electrons in a steady, predictable way. When you flip a light switch or plug in a phone charger, you're completing a circuit that lets electrons travel from a source, through the wire and back again, forming a loop. This flow is measured in amps, and the voltage is kept within safe limits for appliances and infrastructure by regulators and breakers. Importantly, this kind of electricity is continuous, guided along a specific path, and engineered to be as stable and efficient as possible so that devices work reliably and safely. Lightning, by contrast, is a natural electrical discharge that occurs when static electric charge builds up in the atmosphere. In a thundercloud, strong winds and collisions between ice particles and water droplets separate charges so that the top of the cloud becomes positively charged and the bottom becomes negatively charged. The ground, influenced by the cloud's charge, becomes positively charged relative to the bottom of the cloud. When the difference in charge becomes great enough, often millions of volts, the air, which normally resists electrical flow, suddenly becomes ionized and conducts. The result is a rapid, massive transfer of charge to balance the difference, producing a lightning bolt. Instead of a steady flow, lightning is a sudden and intense burst of electricity that lasts fractions of a second and travels along a path forged through ionized air. In a wire, electrons move in an orderly fashion. They drift slowly in one direction when pushed by voltage, their motion predictable and confined within the boundaries of the conductor. Even though individual electrons move slowly, the electric field, the signal that gets the current started, propagates quickly, allowing lights to turn on almost instantly. Lightning's charges, on the other hand, move through the air in a far less controlled way. Before a strike, stepped leaders, branches of ionized air, reach downward from the cloud in jagged paths. When a connection is made with an opposite charge from the ground, a return stroke surges upward in a fraction of a microsecond. This path is not a smooth line, but a jagged chain determined by regions where the air breaks down first. One of the starkest contrasts between lightning and household electricity is the scale of voltage and current involved. Typical household circuits in many countries run at 110 to 240 volts, enough to power appliances, lights, and chargers, and carry a few to tens of amps of current. These levels are chosen for efficiency and safety. Lightning, in comparison, involves millions of volts and tens of thousands of amps of current in a single flash. This enormous difference in voltage allows lightning to overcome the resistance of air, which is normally an insulator, and to bridge the huge gap between cloud and ground. The current in a lightning strike can heat the air to temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun in a matter of microseconds. When you flip a light switch, The electric field that sets electrons in motion spreads through the wire at a significant fraction of the speed of light, which is why the response feels instant even though individual electrons drift slowly. This creates a steady, continuous current that lasts as long as the circuit remains closed. Lightning also involves extremely fast electrical motion, but on a very different time scale. A lightning strike forms through rapid steps of ionized air and releases its charge in microseconds to milliseconds, producing the brief flash we see. Unlike the sustained flow in a wire, lightning is a sudden discharge that ends almost as soon as it begins. One of the most important differences between these two forms of electricity is how safely they can be used. Electricity in wires is controlled by design. Insulated conductors, proper grounding, circuit breakers, and safety standards protect people and devices from harm. Engineers design electrical systems to limit voltage, control current, and reduce risk. Lightning, by nature, is uncontrolled and dangerous. It can strike unpredictably, carrying immense energy that can injure or kill people, damage structures, and start fires. We mitigate its effects with lightning rods, grounding systems, and weather forecasting, but we can't tame it the way we do household electricity. Lightning emphasizes the importance of respecting natural forces and applying engineering to channel and utilize electrical energy in ways that are safe and reliable. Lightning and electricity in wires may share the same fundamental ingredient, moving electric charge, but they represent two very different electrical worlds. Electricity in wires is controlled, continuous, and designed to follow precise paths at manageable voltages and currents. Lightning is an uncontrolled discharge driven by extreme voltages and brief, intense bursts of energy that force electricity through air itself. One exists because of careful engineering and safety systems, while the other emerges from the raw physics of the atmosphere. Understanding this difference helps explain not only why lightning is so dangerous, but also how remarkable it is that we've learned to harness electricity safely for everyday life. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.